and the one that is people the seven rules of the sons of Jacob, Joseph, and the sons of Esau, who promised the Lord, may the Lord bless us when I look at the foolishness of the Son of the Lord.
Unafanya hiyo kazi? Unafanya hii kazi?
YouTube utafurahi sikia sauti ya Loan.
Sing of Jesus' love, my heart's longing, He has done. I will sing His love to me.
Thank you very much. We're going to pray to welcome our speaker. And let's believe and we're going to just pray. Lord, Father, Father, we thank you for this evening, Lord. We thank you for this time, Lord, Father, to remind us, Lord, Father, of your word. You reminded us, Lord, Father, that music should be done in the heavenly way. Music should be done according to thy will, and Lord, Father, to the glory of your name, Lord, Father. Instead that we're going to still listen, Lord, from your speak, even from our speaker, Lord, Father, who is your vessel, Lord, from the of your words. We pray that we may be pleased, Lord, that you may use him, even Father, to be out of us, Lord, Father, but even in the long run, we may learn from the things that come from you, Lord. In himself, Lord, Father, he has no word that save, Lord. He has no word, Lord, Father, that sanctifies, Lord, Father. But all that sanctify and all that even enables, Lord, Father, that is that which that comes from you. We pray that we may hear that from you this time, Lord. Your Spirit, Lord Father, guide in this room. We may be good listeners, Lord Father. We may give ear to this thing of our hearts, Lord Father. We give light to do the things that we can learn from this day on the Lord of God. Pray that, Lord Father, you may even guard our PA60, whatever you're using, Lord Father, to even get this message to your congregants, Lord. That even it may work perfectly, Lord Father, to your service, Lord. Pray. We know that Satan is not sleeping at this point in time, but struggling for the even in every way. To break through, Lord God, break this thing, Lord God, and successful in our sense. Now the Lord, we know that you are mighty and the Lord God is everlasting, and that you will achieve it to the end, Lord. It doesn't be with us, and even though you're planning to bring us, as to be faith, that we will bring us. And the name of God, we believe, trust in the name of Jesus Christ. So we welcome our speaker to speak to us.
Praise God. Praise God. How many are happy to be here today? Now, when you look at the opportunity that we have when you're in campus, there are so many things. Wow, it's not very clear. Can you check the backgrounds? When you look at the life of a student in campus, there are so many things that you are expected to learn. One of the things that you are expected to learn is, of course, the course that brought you here. But that is not all. When you come to church, this is another training ground. And God is very serious about the kind of training that you're having at this place. There are small positions of responsibility that people are given here and there. You are made a chorister here. You are made in charge of a group. You are made in charge of development. Don't take those positions lightly. God is preparing you for bigger responsibilities. Don't think when you are made an elder here, one day there is going to be another inauguration so that you become, there's a bigger inauguration for you to become an elder. Once God has appointed you an elder here, you remain an elder even as you go out. Once you are appointed a deacon here, as you go out, you remain a deacon. There are those who are students, they are ordained as deacons when they are students. And when they leave, somehow they feel like that was not enough. The kind of experience that you're having here is preparing you for the life to come. I mean, for the life after campus. So when we are teaching you here about music, it's important for you to take note of what we are learning. Not all of you are going to be in the same church. You will find yourself the only graduate of this university in some church in one corner of the country. Then you find the choir there is not doing so well. The choir is not singing very well, but you are a good singer. Then you decide to help the choir so that the choir can be strong. And you start thinking about the principles that can guide you as you lead that choir. Ladies here, you don't know where you will land. Not all of you will be around. Find yourself in some part of Kisii, some part of Ukambani, Kitale, wherever. Then you are made the choir leader. You are made the choir trainer. And you start thinking of how you can strengthen the choir or how you can strengthen the singing in that church. You may be an elder wherever you will go one day. You start thinking about how to guide the choir or how to guide the singing. If you're not able to change it, don't worry, just say. Now, the things that you are learning here are meant to help you after you leave. Wherever you will be worshiping, whichever congregation you will be part of, you need to, one day you will recall what we taught, and I hope it will help. Some of us did not know. As soon as we left campus, we went out there to some churches and we found ourselves elders straight away. We left and we said, oh my God, elder in charge of the choir, how do I direct, how do I guide the choir? Okay. So take whatever we are learning seriously. It's not for the choir leaders. You cannot say, no, me, I'm not the choir director. Me, I'm not in charge of the choir. I'm not the chair. I'm not a leader in choir. So it doesn't apply to me. This is relevant to all of us. There is something else that we need to bear in mind. Many choirs have been there, and we know the kind of challenges that have been there with the choirs. There have been choirs in campus, even here. Some of us can talk about the challenges that they know with singing, challenges that they know with choirs. If I was to give you, each of you, a minute, you pinpoint some of the challenges that you see, yeah? But because of time, I will not do that. I will just highlight a few areas that I feel are a bit challenging, yeah? One of the areas that I find challenging with our choirs is being at loggerheads with the church administration. How many think that's a problem? How many think that's a problem? I'm not talking about your choir here. I'm talking about the choirs outside there. How many think choirs or singing groups in some churches are at loggerheads with the church administration or church leadership? How many think that's a problem? That is a big problem. I've been a church elder, first church elder for a long time, and elder in charge of the choir. I know one thing that happens is you find there's a singing group in church that does not want to listen to anything. They get an invitation to go out for some event, they go, and you cannot stop them. We have seen such kind of things. We have also seen people who, we have seen cases of choirs that are just totally, in quotes, independent. They are not under anyone. You cannot direct them. Solo singers, independent. choirs, singing groups in the church that are independent. No elder can direct them. You cannot tell them anything about the way they sing. Another thing that we have also seen is, choirs that during normal church service, we have services in the afternoon. We can be having Bible study. They decide to step out to go and have their practice when the church is having a program or they're having Bible study. Have you seen anything like that? In some churches, not here? Such kind of things have happened elsewhere. And that brings me to what I want to talk about today. If you read the book of 1 Corinthians 14, verse 40, the Bible says that everything should be done, everything in church should be done in an orderly way, should be done with some decency. Can you read 1 Corinthians 14 and verse 40? 14 verse 40? No one is there. Anyone? What does it say? Everything should be done in a fitting and orderly way. Another translation, different one from that, says, I like that one. Let everything be done in some order. Now, the singing that we have in church should be done, the organization of our singing in church should be orderly. There should be some good order in the way we organize our singing in church. I'm talking about singing generally, to mean the choir, the singing groups, even the singing in church. All that should be done in an orderly way. And there are lessons that we can pick from the Bible, how singing is supposed to be organized. The question that I want you to bear in mind is, if you are appointed today as the leader in charge of choir or in charge of singing in the church, I don't know what title you give that person. Is it choir director? Huh? Music director. Yes, music director. If you are made the music director today, what would you do? If you are appointed music director this year, what would you do? Where would you begin? You would not be able to understand your work before you start doing your work, you should ask yourself, what is the scope of my work? And where am I beginning from? Who is the music director? Before you start working, stop for a minute and ask yourself, where am I beginning from? How has the singing in church been? How have the choirs been? How have the singing groups been? And what do I want to change? Have you asked yourself that? Or you'll ask yourself next year? I used to have a problem with people who, when we were given papers, exam papers, like for composition, people would get their papers, and they start writing. I asked myself, what were they writing? I would take about 10 minutes figuring out what to write. The same thing happens with work. When people are appointed to work, you're appointed yesterday, and today you have started working. Ask myself, where have you begun from? Stop for a minute, ask yourself, what is going on in the church in terms of singing? What would I want to change? What would I want to strengthen? What would I want to uphold? Where am I taking from? Where am I picking this up from? Ask yourself that question for a few minutes or for some time before you move on. Otherwise, the singing in church will remain the way it was. You will change absolutely nothing because you have not taken time to reflect. Okay? If you step in the shoes of elder as the new elder coming in, taking over from him, it would help you to stop and ask yourself, how has the church been? What are the gaps that have been existing? And ask yourself now, how do I figure out this? How do I figure out how to change? How do I change this? How do I strengthen this aspect? Remember, music director is in charge of all the singing, the congregational singing. The choristers fall under the music director. The choir leadership falls under the music director. The singing groups all fall under the music director, isn't it? That is the way it is supposed to be. And the church has outlined a very good structure. Now, when you are appointed as music director, don't just rush to do things. Understand understand what gaps are there, and then you come up with a clear strategy to change. Let me begin with congregational singing. I will be reading some few things about congregational singing, but I just want to give this general view that when you are appointed as choir music director, there are choristers. The choristers are in charge of leading the singing in church. Look at or think about how the singing in church has been. Then take time with the choristers. Choristers, we encourage what we call group choristering as opposed to individuals leading. Because I gave you the example the other day of someone choristering, and somebody would want to listen to their voices, want to follow their voices as you sing along, isn't it? A bass would want to listen to some bass leading. A tenor would want to listen to the tenor from here, like that. So when you come here and you solo in soprano, it looks better when there's a group that is leading. I think that cannot be overemphasized. But the weakness that we have is choristers not training to sing together, not training, not meeting to prepare the songs. Choristers need to have time, look at the songs that they will sing, prepare the songs. Next Sabbath is Holy Communion. So which songs do we need for Holy Communion? Next Sabbath is Children's Sabbath. It is Pathfinder's Induction. Next Sabbath is Family Life. Which kind of songs do you want? So from morning, let's have the following songs. Then they try their voices and they see how the voices are not coming here. Sorry, there's someone who tuned some song differently. He was, where's the brother? Can you on up so that he can be forgiven? Now, meeting to prepare. Need to come prepared. If a song is new, you've already gone through it. Then you come and say, there is this song number 25. Hymn number 25, we are going to sing it together, and we'll take 5 minutes to learn first stanza. Soprano goes like this, and the soprano knows, alto knows, and then we say, can we sing it together? Pop, 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 pop. After that, yeah. So the mandate of the choristers is to lead the congregation in singing. I must also mention that you need to take time to teach the church new songs. That is part of the mandate of the. You can seek the sample, choristering team. That is part of your work. A song like Anywhere with Jesus, tan, taran, 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 taran. You should listen to most churches. Anywhere. When I go home, I have nowhere to put my ears. I'm so impatient with it. Now, choristering team, leading in singing, helping the church to learn new songs, helping the church to sing correctly. And when you come, you need to look prepared. There is one thing where the choristers, can I see you? By show of hands. Don't stand here and start telling people they don't look happy. Please. Had a distressed night. They have been so disturbed. Some are sorrowful for their sins. This is not a place where people come. They are just, hey, can you smile? Oh, you come and tell people to sing a chorus and tell them stand up, sit up, sit up, sit. You tell us now. I hope now you mechangamka. If I've not eaten the whole week, do you think sitting and standing will make me smile? I'm worried about where my next meal is going to come from. It's letting a chorus to warm us up. People look a bit cold. It is not that easy. You come and just leading the singing. Praise God, church. Bwana asifiwe. And I would want all of us to get our books so that we can start singing. I'd like to request those who are at the back to move slightly to the front. Yeah, those who are seated far away to move. And let's get ready. Then you tune and you do what? You start. Just sing. Let the song minister to our souls. Don't come and quarrel the congregation. Take me too seriously. Now, some people, when they are choristers, hey, you see, and some of you are sleeping, You're sleeping there. Huh? A chorus. Where's someone to come and sing? That is not the aim of the chorister. Just lead us in singing and don't harass us. Bwana asifiwe. Let's turn to song number. Let me just give an example. Aha. Let me get a familiar one. Let's look at a song like, okay, the one that I already mentioned. You lead in singing and you sing correctly, prepared. Everyone is ready. Okay? There's no need, new people. Why can't you sing happily? Why can't you say, Naka, elder, work on that one so that as people come to this church, we don't hear such kind of statements. Personally, I think it is wrong. You don't look happy. Sister, you don't look happy. What do you mean? It's all that we are praying for, peace and joy, not happiness. Happiness is outward expression of what is inside, isn't it? Let's not say such kind of things and harass people and can you walk? Can you greet 20 people and do what? No. Let's try number 500 and oh my God, that does not look. Number 195. Well, now, if you're not able to pitch, there's some choristers who have not been used to pitching. So blessing, da, 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 da. By the time you get to the chorus, shower so blessing, da, 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 da. Yani watu wanakufa mpaka sorry. That was too high. That was there shall be showers. The other thing about choristering is people need to have enough time. Give people enough time for congregational singing because that involves everyone. Kila mtu, even those who are not in the choir, they also want to sing. When you stand during the time after lesson, after Sabbath school, before divine, Elder Apple, there is a big problem. Management of that time. There's a big problem. The choir stands to sing kidogo hivi. Now, I have borrowed this from the church manual, page 92. When it comes to choir members, the right thing to do is we need to have choir members, names of choir members presented to the board